Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. The following program broadcast is an original creation by the broadcast entity. Discussion within the following broadcast should be used for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice or consultation. Before considering application of any broadcast content in the following program, please consult your healthcare provider. If you feel you are having a medical emergency, please contact your local health services for immediate assistance. MS&Me Media and the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network do not guarantee or warrant the accuracy of information in the broadcast to follow. The Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network provisions broadcast services to program hosts. Information discussed in the broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or goals of the network and are solely those of the show broadcast host. Should you wish to host a broadcast, please visit our website at msmemedia.com and submit a request to become a program host. We thank you for listening to the MS&Me Radio Network. Enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to She Rox It. This is Roxy Ayers, and I'm feeling much better today. I'm not 100%, but I had a bug and I mentioned it before. And I wanted to let people know when they're starting out listening that I like to spend this time talking about the things we can do versus the things we can't. And I know it's a job. Our lives are a job. If people could even begin to understand what it's like, it would blow their mind. And what made me think about this is I was working on getting my legs into my pants today after getting out of the shower. And I was already worn out from the shower. And I've mentioned this before in one of my other shows, but I was already worn out from the shower. And I was putting my pants on and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know how they always say people put their pants on one leg at a time like everybody else. It's crazy because I think that it is an unbelievable situation for us. Because number one, we used to do it. Most of us used to do these things all by ourselves. And it breaks our hearts every time we have to deal with this. Every time we're out of breath because of the sheer magnitude of the tedious life of an MSer. And, there are some people that, they can't do any of that. There are people who require a pit crew. Like, when people have race cars and they go to the pit crew to get new tires. It's like that. Because you really need a team. And I feel blessed that I have the opportunity to do what I can do right now. Because it's no easy feat for anybody, but if I can be proud and happy that I have the abilities that I do, and I can make the efforts that I can, and safely, of course. And granted, there are times where we feel like we can handle it by ourselves because we don't want to feel like a nag and we don't want to feel like a pain in the butt. And I have to ask my husband to do one more thing for me. I don't want to be a job for that person that cares about me. And it might not be your husband, it might be your wife, or it might be, a really good friend, or maybe just an awesome care provider. And sometimes a not so awesome care provider, but we should be grateful for what we can do in those moments. Even if it's half of what maybe I can do, it doesn't make it any less amazing. Because we choose to wake up every day and not cry ourselves into oblivion or beat ourselves up for all these really trying moments. I think a walking person or a healthy person, if they had the opportunity, I always wish that I could have someone step into my shoes for just one day, just one moment, where they could kind of really get what I go through. But then, maybe they would be blown away and they might think it's exhausting, but they don't get the joy of just having air in your lungs every day that we do. We roll over out of bed and we take a deep breath. If we can. If we have asthma or whatever else, we do it the way that we can. But we take a moment and try to collect ourselves for the day. And then we decide to live instead of dying. And it's not an easy thing to do that either, because I think, yes, there might be people who would step into our shoes for a day and it would blow their mind and they say, oh, I can't live like that. I actually had somebody in my life that said that to me. They go, and they have MS as well. And they say, oh, I see what you go through, and it just, I don't even imagine. It's amazing how positive you are with all the horrible things. They don't say horrible, but that's what I hear. All the horrible things that you do, even though you're, and you're grateful anyways, and you're still smiling anyways. And I think it's a crazy thing in a way, because it's a compliment, but it's almost a backwards compliment, because you know they're looking at you in pity or in an eye that doesn't see you from the inside all the time. They see this sick person that has to have a pit crew, this person who has to have somebody help them with some things that they couldn't even imagine having assistance with. But I think they're the ones at a disadvantage, because they can't even imagine how grateful a person can be for those little things. Those little things that matter, like me being able to use my walker to get somewhere, and my back is okay, I'm not worn out, and I can just go. And not every day is like that. Not every day is glorious, but it's my reality, and you can choose to put your your big girl pants on, what big man pants on, with one leg at a time, and know that you are a superstar in your own right. Because it's not as ugly as people make. I mean, it gets ugly. I'm not saying we don't have ugly moments, but the fact that we embrace what we have, but we don't let it define us. We don't let it make the thing that overwhelms us and then roll over and die. How lucky are we that we know that we're blessed in a different way. We're blessed to be able to see just how beautiful the world is. And here's the funny thing. I have the wiggly eyes. Remember, I mentioned before my rotary nystagmus, and it's crazy. I mean, it's hard to see anything because nothing sits still ever. Unless, of course, I've had, a cocktail or something and then it slows. But I can't exactly see it like everybody else does. But I'm so grateful for being able to see. I can't imagine not being able to see or not be able to talk. And well, I had the moment. I've gone blind a few times, and they give you the prednisone that turned you into a monster. My husband laughs. He goes, I don't know what it is about those steroids, but they show up and you take them, and I swear your monthly shows up right on time to go in on it. And I mean, I'm rotten when I'm on steroids, but I am a rotten mess when I am dealing with my monthly too. So when you have the double whammy, he knows just to go pick up tampons and a pile of chocolate and maybe a magazine and just give me what I need to feel appreciated, even though I don't feel that way a lot of the times. Well, I feel loved and I feel appreciated, but I can't imagine how much appreciation would happen when people realize how much work goes into putting a smile on our face every day. But I'll be honest, like, over the years, it's gotten easier and easier. I used to do quite a few bottles of wine and cry my eyes out and have these moments, which are good moments. Do those things. You need to feel them, because those healing waters are God-given. You have to cry. You have to feel it. But then we see some daylight because we allowed ourselves to feel these moments and heal from them. But then now we get up every day and we put a smile on our face and we try to transcend any kind of ugly that might be our reality. And you know, I've known people who get lost in it, and I mean, there have been times where I've been there. So I'm not hating on that. I think that people often get so upside down in this disease or any given disease, and they lose themselves. And like, I used to paint a lot. And I kind of, didn't for a long time because I was so broken by this diagnosis and how tiresome it was and how unfortunate I felt. And I'd cry and I'd call people and cry about it. And, it's funny, a lot of these people were the same people that I cried with my friends. I cried with them about my mom who had MS, and I cried for her a year before because it's never a right away, passing. It is a slow burn, like I say. You get, and I didn't want her to go fast, but I'm saying I had a whole year or two to get my mind right and preparing myself for the loss. But these people I would cry to, they were so good. And like I said, there was some wine involved. And, I don't even know if I was, old enough to get a hold of that stuff, but I figured it out. But I think you'll start to be able to breathe. If you really wake up in the morning and say, thank you, Jesus, for today. Thank you, Jesus, for my sensation that I have on one hand, when on the other I have very severe tactile numbness. And tactile numbness is this thing where you go to touch something and you can feel that it's there, but if you had to feel any fine details, like if you were trying to read Braille, that wouldn't be a possibility. Not to mention, it seems like a really hard thing to learn. Yeah, so one hand has that all the time. So I noticed I was always, and it was my left hand, thank God, because I'm right-handed, but I find myself not using that hand very much because I don't trust it to hold on to things. I don't trust it to give me true information. But then I started kind of thinking about it, and I started trying to use it, but then developing an idea of what I was looking at when I picked something up and how much tension and how much everything, and it can be learned. And how grateful am I that I at least had a chance to figure that out, I mean, it sucked at first trying to figure it, plus it was numb and it just felt weird, and now you can't do things with it. But then I started doing things with it, sort of like occupational therapy, and just testing my strengths in that hand, testing what I could feel or what would be doable, so that I wasn't closing that opportunity in my life as well. And you say the opportunity to use both of my hands to do things, to take care of things, because I don't walk well, and I wouldn't try to jump in a race with somebody because it would be awful. Granted, if I was in my wheelchair that I use on times where I go to concerts and things like that, I would run some people over. I'm fast. But that's another thing. I forced myself to use my walker as much as I can, because I know that if you don't use it, you lose it. So every day is a reminder of just how trying our life is. But if you look at it just a little different, you look at how amazing things can be if you just put yourself in the right frame of mind. And like I said, I'm not always like that. I mean, I'm telling you, I give myself permission every couple of months to throw a fit. And it's usually when I'm trying to put my pants on partially damp legs by myself, and it's not happening. And I think it's hard for everybody to put uh, clothes on a wet body. But when you're an MS, it's a whole nother thing. You have all these different things that you have to think about. But I can do this. I can breathe. I can see, not like everybody else, but I can see in the way that I can. And my brain's been very amazing as far as my nystagmus goes, because I get it like, it's like a slideshow. It's a slideshow of information. I never get a still frame. But my brain is pretty amazing at pushing all of it together and making it less crazy. And I can build an idea of, what the person's face looks like, instead of it being like somebody's face bouncing around all over the place. So I'm grateful for that every day. I'm grateful that I am able to walk from my bed in the middle of the night when I have to go by myself. Now, I know there are people who can't do that and require a little bit of a pit crew to go in and work. And I think what I deal with and the greatness of being able to get up and do that is amazing. But I watch some of these people who really have to surrender some of their pride every day. And what a strength that is. Because some people don't choose to keep living in these moments. Some people don't love life, and I mean, I feel like a gangster or a superstar, but I see these people that have to redirect their minds and look at the growth and the things that they can do differently. And but beyond my measure, for me, looking at somebody who deals with their MS like that, or one of these other acquired brain injuries like that, I can't imagine. But I would never tell somebody to their face that I can't imagine how they live, how they deal. Because I don't like it when people tell me that sometimes. And the truth is that's my level, like, of understanding in my body and my health and what I can do. But these people who require these extra helpers, these people in their lives full time, maybe, 2 to 3 times a day, if not more, they are amazing. Because they treat this thing as, hey, I'm dealing with it. It's not like, oh, my life is so horrible and what I do. They look at it and they put a bow on it, and they say, this is where I'm at and I'm not going to let it define me. So I applaud these people. Not because of, how they deal with how horrible their life can be. So I applaud them because they transcend even my smallest ability to understand how somebody would. They make it work and they make it look like it's not a job sometimes. And it's hard, dude. It's hard to, like, surrendering any part of your independence. It just burns your biscuits. But these people, they have a bigger chunk of stuff they have to deal with, but they still smile every day. They still thank their helpers and do the things a person should do if you're a normal human being. And I think that's amazing. So when I say put your pants on one leg at a time is a different animal than what we deal with, and it is, but I think sometimes it's nice to let people know just how real we are, like how mellow we are, or how bright we are, depending on the situation. When you're telling somebody that they see someone that's really rich or fancy or they're beautiful and they're just kind of take over the room, it's like becomes the show of that person all the time. And people say, hey, don't think anything crazy. They put their pants on one leg at a time. I would love for people to look at us and say, oh my God, they rise above. They go far beyond what it's like to put your one leg at a time in. And I don't mean like to feel sorry, but like we are freaking superstars. If I mean, like I said, people can't imagine what it's like, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone either. And that's another thing. Like I sometimes it would be cool if somebody could live a day in my life, but how blessed are they in their way? The things that they see or think are amazing and mean so much to them, but they're blessed in that way. They have the opportunity to do certain things that we might not be able to, and I think that's amazing too. I'm not counting them out. I just want to have the same. I wish we had like little stickers. You know, like people put stickers like little hearts or like stars if you get a gold star. We should get like one every day when we wake up and we put a smile on our face. Every day. Because it is a job every day. But we don't let it bury us. I don't want to get buried by this thing. And I'm gonna have moments, like I said, I'm gonna have moments and feel like the world is caving in on me. And it's usually like when a new symptom shows up, when you feel like you have the other stuff mastered and you can live with it. Then another crazy symptom happened. You know, when I was working, I remember because I'd had quite a few. I mean, I'd went completely blind once, and then I've had things where my numbness was insane, and I joke about my crotch being numb, but that was true, and that happened like 2 years into my marriage, which was pretty much the honeymoon period still. So, I mean, that didn't feel very sexy, but you get past it and you're stronger for it. You know? And I mean, I went blind, like I said, and it was awful, but then they give you the steroids that make you evil. And then there was one time when I was working, one eye went blind. And I was still working, and I was like, oh, it's just one eye. And I didn't go to the doctor to get steroids or get treatment or anything because I felt like, hey, I can deal with one eye being gone. But that's what we do. That's what our brain does. We renegotiate, redirect, and move on with our hearts in a solid place sometimes. So I think it's exhausting at times, and I think it wears at us, and it does get frustrating when people couldn't even begin to understand what we deal with. But let's celebrate their wellness with them, you know, and not snarky like, but just be like, you know, you were doing so well. You look so healthy today. You look beautiful today. And you know, depending on how their brains work, they might take it as a dig, but no. Let's celebrate people who have different wellnesses that we can't even imagine, or people who are dealing with 20 times more problems than we are. And we let them know just how beautiful they are. Because they still smile. If they can't, I know a lot of people that have like the handshakes, and so they can't do their eyeliner anymore, and they can't do the lipstick. But they have a care provider that can do it for them, and they use them. They let them do it, and you let them know. Like, and you, if you know they have those, I call them the Watusis. If you're curious, Google it, because it's a dance from a long time ago that people would do, and it had a whole shaky thing. And that's my mom used to call her shaky hands, because that's how her MS was. She had severe shaky hands all the time. But anyways, I think we can deal with these things. We can rise above. We can make it better. We can make it more shiny. And yes, we do want a gold star every now and then. But, you know, I've noticed the more that I shine through it in a positive, calm way, or even a positive, neurotic kind of way. It just depends on how you want to do it. people can't help but want to understand how amazing you are. How do you do that? Like, I have strangers that come up to me on the regular because they see my walker and they know that there's some kind of a problem happening. And it's kind of crazy because, like, they want to figure it out. They want to know why you're like that. They assume you're in an accident because you're not, old, and you're not blah blah blah. And then you kind of let them know, and then they are just so, they don't know how to deal with it when you still smile and you're still joyful, because they wouldn't imagine being that way. But what I'm saying, people, and I'm going to close out pretty soon, but we need to be grateful for the things that we can do, for the moments where we can be an encouragement to people when they couldn't even believe that we're as encouraged with ourselves or how we deal with this as we are. And it's always more interesting to encourage somebody who is well and who has, their stuff together, or they feel like they're ahead of the game, because then they're going, man, I'm getting support from this lady who doesn't have anything. But they don't know. We do. We do have these moments. We do have this joy. If we can just harness it and hold on to it. So I reach out to God every day. If I don't say it out loud, I do it in my heart. And I say, you know what? Thank God I have what I have. Thank God I can see every day as a brand new day. So don't forget to bless people. If you can, any way you can. If you can't, talk well, but you can listen, that's always a thing. Or if we can't move somebody, from their house to another house, but we can maybe help them schedule it, or just all kinds of things. We can do whatever. But I really, really encourage you guys to just hold on to what you've got and make it bright and shiny. And not by doing anything crazy, but just by still smiling through it. Still loving through it. Still encouraging people through it. Including yourself. Because it's not easy. But we make it happen. And I love making people wonder what's up with me, and it's more because why am I so joyful when my world has turned upside down? They don't know what I know. They don't know my relationship with God. And I have an attitude of gratitude beyond measure. And I think I'm blessed in that way where some aren't. So anyways, guys, take care of each other. Take care of the people who love you, the people that help you. And just turn it around and encourage them. And be sweet to them. So, okay, guys, I'm signing out. I really hope and pray that this reaches somebody today. Because that's what this place is about. It's for support. It's for making people from all levels of MS disability, or people who love people with us, with our situations, get the support that they need. It'll be good. So anyways, I am signing out, guys, and God bless you, and I hope this helps somebody today.